What's going on, y'all? Coach Curtis here. Diving into baseball EQ. We all talk about IQ, baseball IQ, very important, very, very, very important. But I'm going to go down a different path here today. And we're going to label it baseball EQ because IQ gets its own name. And I'm going to break this down a little bit in this solo podcast. Why it's so important, why it's so massive. And we're talking about EQ, we're talking about emotional quotient, the emotional side of the game, the emotional strength. And let's clear this up right away that this is not a mental performance talk. That's a very, in my opinion, different category. It's not mindset either. It's not a mindset talk. Right? They matter. I teach them every day. I use them. They work. They're phenomenal. I'm a damn mental performance coach, right? But it's kind of a layer underneath those. Right? Mental performance is execution. It's an execution of something. Mindset is a belief, right? A perspective you have of yourself. EQ is awareness. And I really believe that's something that's lacked. It's awareness. Awareness needs to come first. Right now, a lot of athletes are being handed tools, mental performance tools, without being really taught how to see the problem clearly that they're trying to, overcome. Breathing techniques, visualization, journaling, self-talk, routine, all the good stuff, all the great stuff, proven, it works, it's useful. But again, the issue I'm seeing is that we're often putting the cart before the horse on this. Trying to fix a regulation problem with a performance tool. And it's like, that's, in hitting, it's a good hitting coach will know. It's just like adjusting mechanics when the issue's timing, right? Or changing a stance when the hitter has a vision problem. Okay, if your thought loops are hijacked and your nervous system is cooked, there's no breathing drill in the world that's going to stick. And not because the drill sucks, not because the breathing drill is bad, because it's being applied at the wrong layer. Okay, habits are going to be hard. Habits are hard to maintain, especially new habits. You're going to have a hell of a time maintaining these habits when your internal environment is in full chaos. And this is what we're talking about. Awareness of that. Baseball EQ. In my opinion, it's for the ones who want to put the work in, for the ones who want to be aware, for the ones who I really think want to be a bit different. This is the separator. Okay? I've worked not just on the psychology side, on the mental performance side with players. I've been in the dugouts, cages, early work, fields, hotels, late night bus rides, all that stuff and you've seen that player and you're like, hey man, you good? He's not good. You got shelled in the first inning, and the kid says, yeah man, I'm good. You just know they're not. Okay. Let's talk about that. We're going to dig into that. We're going to start to understand where that comes from. Touch back on the baseball IQ side. IQ, very important. Knowing what you're going to do, right? Having an approach, knowing counts, pitch sequencing, understanding your hot zones, your cold zones, situations, where to go with the ball. If it's hit here versus here, is, guy's hitting, he's got wheels. I don't have time to take 2 steps from playing short. I got to get rid of that damn ball, right? IQ. IQ gets you opportunities. Absolutely. Again, very important. EQ determines how long you last. How you respond when it gets hard. Who you become because of the game. And right now, EQ is underdeveloped at every level. Shit, all over the world. Jobs, families, everything, right? So what is it? What is EQ? What is IQ? Do we know this? It's a comparative measure, right? EQ is how well you recognize, understand, and manage emotions, right? IQ stabilizes early. That's the thing about IQ, right? You get it, you learn it, it sticks. If you're locked in as a young player, the IQ's there. It grows, you learn a little bit more. You get to a certain level, let's say high school, you got the IQ, but you're a damn snap show. IQ, let's say is 16 years old. It's tough. It's you're gonna have to grind. You're gonna have to be on the field a lot, playing a lot of games, to know where to go with the ball, to understand these little intricacies. But EQ, man, it's trainable. Okay? It is trainable, and you can do this off the field. All right. In baseball especially, it exposes the shit out of EQ. So let's do a little comparison here. Okay, IQ versus EQ. Knowing the game versus managing yourself. Right? Baseball IQ is what you know. Reading scouting reports, knowing the counts. We've gone through all this stuff. I just want to really clarify what we're talking about here. IQ, understanding the situations. Again, what pitch is coming. What a sign means. Right, the meetings you have pre-game, about sequencing, right? All the reps, all the classroom reps, all the game planning, the X's and O's, right? Honestly, this is why some guys look unbelievable in practice, bullpens, pre-game BP, etc. But EQ, man, EQ is where it shows up. How do you handle yourself after a bad call or an error? You go 0 for 4, or coach yanks you out for something. Crowd's chirping you. What happens when your body feels, you tighten up and your head starts racing? EQ is awareness of that. It's recognizing the emotion before it hijacks your next at bat or the inning. Staying connected to the the pitch that's coming, instead of spiraling into, some crazy mindset because of the last one, or futurizing about the next one. Scouts call this, they kind of refer to this as makeup, right? Like, he's got a good makeup, right? That means you compete when things aren't clean, right? You can regulate yourself. You're coachable, right? Good teammate. But everything starts when we talk about EQ, and we're on the baseball field. There's obviously going to be a lot of failure, right? Sign up to play baseball, get ready to fail. We don't always love failure. We are outcome focused people. We want to see good outcome. In baseball, you're not always going to have good outcome. You're going to fail. So it starts with a loop, right? A thought loop. Okay. This is the root of the problem. Okay, your thought loop. And this is before mechanics break down, before your confidence drops, before you're smashing helmets. There's always some damn loop in there. It's feeling, thought, story, body reaction, more feeling, rinse, repeat. Loop. It's connected. It doesn't stop. It keeps going around in circles. And this is where, people misunderstand performance. They think the thought is the problem, right? No, it's not. The feeling comes first. And when the loop keeps running, the nervous system never gets a break. And that really matters. Because a nervous system that is constantly lit up, constantly firing, it doesn't just affect your emotions, right? It affects your performance. Okay, you leave half a step on the bases. Okay, that first move gets a little bit slower. Reaction time drops. Pitch discipline gets a little shaky. Right? And timing's off. Decision making gets rushed, and it's not because you forgot how to play, because your system's fried. Okay, it's tired. And so when you're replaying mistakes, as we do as players, you've all seen that kid in right field going through reps, at bats or pretending to swing a bat. We've all seen it. What's happening out there, right? We're replaying a mistake. Or, very common, imagining failure. Okay. And we're fighting our own thoughts all day, especially as you move up in baseball. You see a guy who's out there shoving. Yeah, a lot of times there are guys who think about themselves striking out. They see the failure before it happens. Okay, so you're fighting with your own thoughts all day. Nervous system stays in protection mode. Right? Muscles stay tense, your breathing stays shallow, heart rate stays elevated, vision narrows. It's great if you're avoiding danger. It's terrible if you're trying to square up a baseball. Over time, this constant internal pressure, it costs you energy. And energy is performance. You're not going to fake your way around that. We could touch on the, this is where a lot of coaches, a lot of people would start to implement the mental tools. All right? And again, they're great. Mental tools are great. When kids are struggling, when kids are down, when players are down, when anybody's down, one of the first things we start to do is we start to talk about the mental game, like what do breathing, visualization, self-talk, all that. But we're skipping a step here. We're skipping a step. Okay. You need some awareness. And this is the piece right here. This is really the meat and potatoes of it, right? If you don't recognize the trigger, you don't know when to apply the tool. If you don't feel the body shift, you apply the tool too late. If you don't see the loop, you try to override it. And overriding keeps the nervous system activated longer. It's like trying to outthink a bad thought. Like it's just continuous thoughts. So players think like, well, shit, why isn't this working? The only answer is, man, it's being applied to the wrong layer. Awareness comes first, always. So we gotta find that trigger. All right? You don't fix what you can't see. Pick the trigger. 1. The movement, everything starts to tilt. What is the trigger? Is it a strikeout? Is it an error? Is it a, pitcher start to pull the ball glove side? What is the trigger? What is it? 3 in a row? Let's have some awareness. What is it? Because these are, I know as a coach, right, you could see these things coming up. They're predictable. But predictable means trainable. Okay, and then there's, right after the trigger, comes the feeling. Okay? And the feeling comes before the thought. And this is where awareness lives. Once the trigger hits, the body reacts first. What is it? The chest tightens, the breath gets faster, your jaw locks, you tense your shoulders, your legs feel heavy. What is it? Let's find it. What is it? What is the feeling that you're feeling after the trigger? Okay, because it's not mental weakness. This is biology. Okay, and if you miss this moment, the brain fills the gap with a story, and that becomes the loop, the damn loop. And you catch it here, everything downstream changes. Now, after the trigger, feeling, this is where we want to identify the feeling. Okay, we don't need to judge it. We don't need to do anything to it. We just need to be aware of it. What is it? Now we got to identify the feeling, okay, not the behavior. Most players talk outcomes. I'm tight. Okay, I'm rushing things. I'm overthinking. Those are symptoms. We want to get to the source. What's the source of it? Okay, what's the source? Nervous? Anxious? scared, overwhelmed, embarrassed, angry. Like there's so many ways we can name it. But what naming it does is it creates space. Okay. And we can understand that, oh, that's what it is. I notice that I'm nervous versus I am nervous. We're creating space between what that is and who you are. Because we have a choice. We actually have a choice. And that's awareness. So this is where I hear a lot of coaches use a lot of people, man. I mean, it's a real buzzword is mindfulness, right? And I hear people say that, and we got to be mindful out there. Yeah, sure. Mindfulness is great, but awareness and mindfulness are very different. Right? Mindfulness is a state. Awareness is a skill. Okay, you don't need to be calm to be aware. You don't need silence. Awareness is simply noticing what is happening without judgment. Awareness lets you catch the loop early. And mindfulness, it might come later, but awareness, man, is always available. Mindfulness takes a lot of work. Awareness, you can have that shit right now. So with lack of awareness, or let's call it, not being aware of being aware. What happens is players, coaches, everybody, we start wearing masks. Okay? And this really, it wrecks performance long term. Right? What's a mask? Mask is, hey man, how you doing? How's it going over there? I'm fine. Nothing bothers me. I don't care. All good. I'll leave it on the field. It's fine, man. You can tell your coaches, tell your players that. You can even try to tell yourself that, but your nervous system ain't fucking buying it. Unobserved emotions get stored. Stored emotions become tension. And then tension becomes fatigue. Right? We've gone through this. Nervous system. Fatigue shows up as slow reactions, tighter swings, losing a step, poor decisions. This is why players, feel off and they can't explain why. To wearing a mask, it doesn't make you tough. It's suppression. And suppression, at the end of the day, it costs you performance. Now we get the coaches, we get the people talking about emotional control. And this is where, this is really where people lose years. Right? Trying to control emotion keeps the nervous system activated. Right? You don't eliminate the feelings by fighting them. What you actually do is you're extending them. Okay. EQ is not. EQ is not control. EQ is relationship. It's noticing it. It's naming it. It's allowing it. It's redirecting attention. Okay. Regulation. And a lot of players, go through this post-game, pre-game, by living in the past and futurizing. But you're up to bat, man. Baseball happens right now. And that's why it's hard. The present is hard to stay in sometimes. Again, the nervous system. You hear me say this a lot. The nervous system stays activated when you're thinking about, you're overanalyzing what you did yesterday or in the last at bat. Sure. Watch it, learn, make your adjustment, move on. Yeah, don't give it any more than that because it's over. Same thing with the future. Shit, they're bringing this guy in from the bullpen. You've already screwed yourself, right? Your nervous system's already lit up. It stays activated because it's protecting you, right? You have these thoughts and it's starting to protect you. Okay, again, it costs focus, timing, everything. Awareness pulls you back to right now. So where does this start? Players, it starts with you. Coaches, it starts with you. Everybody, it starts with you. But coaches, honestly, preparation's the biggest one. It's nervous system leadership. Disorganization creates anxiety. Right? Great coaches organize. Practice plan. Coaching 101, baby. Practice plan. We stick to it. Shit, coaching 201. Share that practice plan before. Let the players show up to practice knowing what they're doing. Structure calms the nervous system. Uncertainty spikes it. Starting lineups like a mystery before a game. Okay, it's not tough coaching, right? It's what it is. It's unnecessary stress. And baseball's hard enough, you know. I mean, you got players, kids, it's just coming into the field with uncertainty and, well, I don't know, you know, these guys gotta be ready to play all the time. Well, why? Why not help them prepare earlier? Yeah, it bugs me. I'll tell you that, it bugs me. You know, and I'm happy to talk to anybody about, you know, debate that any day of the week. But you know, I've become, yeah, I'll say it, bitter, watching undertrained, undereducated coaches out there, you know, inflating their ego and doing this shit for the resume. Okay, guys, you know, who they want to have authority, but don't want to do all the hard work that comes with it. Right? They're barking about preparation while they're creating fucking chaos. Right? And it's not leadership. So, anyway, coaches, you listen to this? Be better. Sleep. When I add sleep into this equation here. Okay, everyone, you know, go home, get a good night's sleep, you know, shake this off, come back tomorrow. Yeah, sure, maybe sleep is great. Sleep is awesome. Sleep does help you recover. But the nervous system doesn't really give a shit if you're sleeping or not. Okay? When thought loops run all day, you know, past, present, failure, etc., just constant thoughts. The nervous system never shuts down. Okay? Stress stays elevated. Recovery stays incomplete. Okay? Sleep will restore your body, your physical body. You know, this is kind of like wearing a whoop strap, and you wake up and you got this perfect sleep score, but you still feel like a bag of shit. Well, that's why. You know, it only restores the brain when the system feels safe, right? So if you got craziness going on in your brain and all these loops happening, you know, your whoop strap ain't going to give you information on what's going on with you emotionally and mentally. And this is going to tell you the physical. What helps is awareness. Awareness creates safety. Being aware, always being aware. We'll dig into, you know, yes, aware. Then what occurs? Then what? Well, there's a few steps here, okay? But without awareness, man, you know, and you're constantly fried or you're pissed off. I mean, shoot, I remember. Don't get me wrong. I was a damn snapshot. I would take an 0 for 4, you know, home and wouldn't talk to anybody for 2-3 days. I couldn't live with myself. It was my identity. It was zero awareness of it. You know, and sleep's not going to save that. So, here's where we're going. 2026 mindset you. All right. Baseball EQ. We're really going to peel back that layer pre-mental performance. Mental performance is still going to be there, right? There's still going to be a lot of work on the mindset, the breathing, the visualization, the tools, preparation, habits, everything, right? It's going to be there. But we're gonna work before that a little bit, right? We're gonna understand awareness, choice, recognition, and release, right? Because the tools, man, tools don't work. Tools only come after awareness. So, you know, this isn't, you know, and here's again preface. I didn't invent any of this. right? This isn't some secret fucking book that I found in the library. This is how high performers live, right? They see things early, they regulate early, they prepare intentionally. I'm just really going to bring this approach to the baseball players I work with. It's not going to be for everyone, I can tell you that. I can tell you right now, there's going to be a lot of players, a lot of coaches who are like, yeah, I'll fucking beat it, Curtis. That's fine, it's all good. Not for everybody. But for the ones who really understand what they're saying on TV when they refer to big leaguers as having the ability to slow the game down, guys throwing 98 and they have the ability to slow the game down. This is what they're talking about, talking about the EQ of it. So, try this. We'll leave this talk with something you can try. Think back to a game. Pick one trigger. Like, what's the one thing that coaches think of players? I mean, I can think of lineups that I had where I knew if X happened, Y would happen, right? Like I knew if this outcome came, I knew what the reaction would be. It's completely predictable. So think of a trigger. Think of that trigger. What was that trigger? Was it caught, strike three, caught looking? Was it spiked fastball? Whatever it is, sort of picked off, and go back and try to identify that feeling. What was the feeling? Where did you feel it? When you were pissed off, what were you physically feeling? Sick to your stomach? Seeing red, anger, what were you physically feeling? Did vision, how was your vision? How did your chest feel? How are your shoulders? How was your breathing? Be aware, have some awareness of that. Then say this: energy goes where attention flows. I notice this feeling, and I'm going to choose whether to feed it. Okay? But here's the next part. This work, it takes, again, it takes awareness, it takes time, it takes humility, and it takes an understanding that this isn't like a fucking 2-week course you take and you're good to go. This is a commitment. This is a commitment to yourself. And the coolest part about this is that it translates into everyday life, whether it be relationships or, business, school, all of it, being a parent, being a good fucking son or daughter, all of it, awareness. I say that damn word so much now, but awareness. So if you want to talk, if you're curious, you want to learn more, how the systems work, what we do, how we train, what's involved, hit me up. Emails there, coach@curtispelche.ca. Instagram, social media, hit me up. It's different. This is a bit different work, right? It's not, ain't gonna post this on Instagram, right? Doesn't look cool, but sure as fuck looks cool when you're in a tight spot and you do some big things when everyone else is freaking out and you're cool as a cucumber. All right? It's simple work, right? It's very simple stuff again, but as I say, and a lot of friends and mentors and good coaches say, simple doesn't mean easy, because we have to develop. There's a lot to be developed in order to really grasp this. So it's worth it, very worth it. Again, hit me up. We want to talk about it. Have a great day.